My name is Xavier Arthur, and in today's video, I'm going to give you my full report on the Google Pixel Fold versus the OnePlus Open phone. Are you ready? Let's get started. Starting with the Google Pixel Fold, this shape is quite nice. It's very broad, fits nice in the hand, and I actually enjoy using this phone. It's the best form factor. The buttons are right at your thumb and easy to reach, both the power and the volume rocker. Yes, this is the heavier phone, but some of you might like that dense, heavy feeling inside of your hand that you're holding something solid. I don't like the back of it. It's very smooth. It's very slippery. Plasticky. This one has the vegan leather, which is a lot more grippy, but still doesn't feel premium in any way, shape, or form. So it really doesn't matter. This one may be a little bit more grippy, but both can easily slip out of your hand. I recommend getting a case. And when you're using either one of these two phones, opened out, grip the screen. Yes, it becomes a fingerprint magnet, but it's either you grip it or you slip it. This one has more of a round edge, whereas the OnePlus Open has more of a square edge. Even though this one is not as broad, it's taller, and that allows you to squish closer and get your thumb all the way up and down. The volume rocker on this is not as easy to reach. You'll probably have to use your other hand to reach the volume. It's high up there. It's way at the top. The fingerprint reader and the power button, of course, is very easy to reach, just like the Pixel Fold. The shape and the position of the buttons and the style of both of these phones are unique in their own right, and that's a good thing, especially in today's day and age when all the phones kind of look the same. The OnePlus Open also has a silence button up here, which I think is really cool that the Google Pixel Fold does not have. If you look at the screen to body ratio, there isn't much bezels. It's very thin all the way around, and they seem to like indent the hinge so it doesn't mess with the screen at all. So this is really nice from a build perspective. However, if you look at the Pixel Fold, even though the bezels are a little thicker here, it's not bad. Thicker at the bottom, and the corner here just has this little chin pointy bezel here that I don't know, it's kind of weird and messing with the whole layout of the phone. And even though the bezels are not thin at the side here, the hinge mechanism kind of laps over and becomes a bezel and just makes this huge thickness at the side of the phone here that's not really part of the screen. So between the actual bezel and the hinge itself, it's just, oh boy, oh boy. The OnePlus Open screen, even though it's not as wide, it gets much brighter. When you crank this thing up, it gets really bright. Not that the Pixel Fold is not bright enough, it's just nowhere as near as bright as the OnePlus Open here. This one, the Google Pixel Fold, definitely gives you more viewing. And not only that, when you turn both of these phones to the side, I don't know about you, but this screen on the Pixel Fold is also taller, which gives you just a better overall viewing experience. If you're in bright sunlight, I think you're going to appreciate the OnePlus Open more, because the screen does get brighter and the overall specs on the screen is much better. Another thing I definitely have to mention is these two little spec holes at the top here on the OnePlus Open phone. These are IR blasters. It doesn't matter where I am in my home, I can always control the televisions and the cable boxes. It would have been nice if the Pixel Fold had it too, but it is what it is. Moving on. To wrap things up on the body, both have USB-C ports at the bottom. The OnePlus Open actually has two speakers at the top and one at the bottom, whereas this phone has one at the bottom and one at the top. Pixel Fold, OnePlus Open. The OnePlus Open definitely gives you a better sound quality, but it's not like this one is a scrub. They both sound good. This one just a little bit better. The Pixel Fold camera bulge just seems nice and uniform, and the flash and everything is just built into this one bar. Whereas the OnePlus Open, the cameras are on this huge bumpy circle. They had to put the flash completely separate and out of the whole bulge. I kind of used the bump to help me position and hold the phone better, so I guess the bump does have some use. I don't know if you can see on camera here, but the OnePlus Open screen is much brighter than the Pixel Fold screen as well, and obviously has more specs than the Pixel Fold screen as well. We can also say that the bezels on the OnePlus Open are much thinner and uniform compared to the bezels on the Pixel Fold. The Pixel Fold's bezels are thinner on the sides and thicker on the top and the bottom, and if you look closely, the hinge mechanism that folds and closes is actually as thick as the bezel, and you can see the seams and the two creases both at the top and the bottom. It is nice that they did put the punch hole camera at the top right hand corner, and it's nice and concealed within the bezels, so at least they didn't put it in the screen. But yes, if bezels are bothering you, then yeah, the OnePlus Open is as good as it gets. It's also worth noting that when you rub your fingers on the inside out edge of these bezels, it is rough and you feel it on your fingers. Whereas the OnePlus Open, you can rub your fingers down the side. Even though it's not level, it's just a smoother, softer experience. They did put the hole punch camera at the top right in the screen, but then again, the bezels are so small on this phone. Where would you put it? Also, the hinge mechanism that separates the two slabs at the top is so thin. The design and craft that went into this phone is remarkable. It's just as thin as these thin bezels. If your phone is locked, in this case on the OnePlus Open, and you open it out and you stare at the camera here, it unlocks the Face ID and you can start using your phone. Whereas the Pixel Fold, if your screen is locked and you just go right ahead and open up your phone, it will not unlock until you hit the fingerprint. The camera on the inside does not scan your Face ID, which is a huge bummer. I don't know why. The camera's there already. Why don't they just use it? We also have to talk about the seam in the middle. Yes, both seams can be seen quite easily when the phones are off, but you can see one definite line in the middle here, whereas the OnePlus Open, I can see multiple stretches and multiple lines down the middle. Once both phones are on, the screens are well lit. Unfortunately, you can still see the line down the middle. However, one thing that I do really like about the Pixel Fold when you're opening it out is that every single step along the way, this phone holds its position until it's flat or almost flat. Doesn't quite go flat unless you press on it. Whereas with the OnePlus Open, it feels nice and holds its position very well until you reach a point and then it just flaps right open. It does not hold its position well at these points. This is a huge bummer in my opinion, because if you like watching content and you need that little bit more of an angle, look out. It will flap down on you, and depending on where you are, you could damage the phone. Whereas the Pixel Fold, you can tilt and lean just as much as you need to get the viewing experience and angle that you like. Even though the OnePlus Open has a taller screen when folded open, you actually get a bigger picture from the Pixel Fold, which is just more pleasing to watch. But turning it to the side gives you that full view experience that you're looking for. And when you turn the Pixel Fold to the side, it actually becomes a taller phone and then starts to look like the OnePlus Open over here when it's standing tall. How weird is that? These phones are very similar in size, they just fold in different ways. This, in my opinion, is a much taller picture compared to the OnePlus Open, which may be a little wider, but you can sure use that real estate at the top. This taller experience, in my opinion, is just the way to go for viewing content. That pretty much wraps up the look, the feel, the build, and the design of both of these phones. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty, which is the software. Let's start with the software on the OnePlus Open. What I really like about this phone is that I can adjust the brightness myself, and then if I want the phone to take over, just tap this little button and there you go. It does it instantly in the drop-down menu. Whereas over here on the Pixel Fold, I can swipe down and adjust the brightness myself. But if I want the phone to adjust the brightness for me, I have to go in the menu. This is just maybe a little too stock sometimes. However, what I do like about this phone, when you swipe down, you have on the left side here all of your options to turn on and off things like airplane mode, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. Even though I do not like that you have to go in a sub menu to turn on and off the Wi-Fi, that should have had its own button. So now I'm clicking twice instead of once. But anyway, it's nice to have that on the left side and all the notifications on the right side. This is so cool. Coming to the right over here now, when you swipe down, it's just as if the phone is closed, and I really don't like that. Oh well, turn it to the side and swipe down, things will change. No, it doesn't matter which way you turn it, you'll get the same experience. Whereas with the Pixel Fold, turn it to the side and swipe down, and you get the same experience that you get with the OnePlus Open. You can scroll through your notes, select the notes, and then do the typing on the right side just by clicking in the notes. Some people might say, well, I prefer this. I prefer to select the note that I want, see the notes big, and then select them and just start typing. Guess what? You turn the Pixel Fold to the side and you get that same experience when it goes tall to match the OnePlus Open, and you can operate the same way. So you have options. But the thing is, when you turn the OnePlus Open to the side, you don't get the option that you would when you turn the Pixel Fold on its side. And that, quite frankly, is very disappointing. I will tell you one thing on this OnePlus phone that thoroughly annoys me. I swipe down and all of my icons here are in yellow. When I open Google apps like Photos and Mail and Drive, it has this pinkish, weirdish color up here. So I'll go to the settings, and here I have 4 selected colors, none of which is this weird yellow color. I will click OK, and as you can see under custom, it will change it. Beautiful. I like my colors nice and simple. I don't like those hot colors, but rest assured, if I lay this phone down for 10-15 minutes, 20 minutes, it's going to go back to those weird colors for whatever reason. What's the point in giving me the options to choose the color, and then 20-30 minutes later you change it back once I put the phone down? One thing that I do like about the OnePlus Open is that you just have more options for apps on the taskbar. Wish Google could put it there. I mean, you have the space to add some more. Why not? How could it hurt? What you see is what you get. How dare we talk about software and do not speak about Google Assistant on both of these two devices? You would think that it's the same thing because they're both running Android, but no. Can you do a smiling emoji? I guess not, at least not reliably. I will double tap this. There's no double tapping that, by the way. I can stop talking, move my cursor anywhere, and continue typing anywhere, and Google is still listening. I like how it puts the question mark because it's a question. Delete, 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 delete. As you can see, this one actually deleted the line. This one spelled the word delete. Malicious. Nothing stopping the Pixel. With the OnePlus, you take 2 fingers, you swipe down from the top, and you select the other app that you want to multitask with. So let's just say OneNote. You select the OneNote, and boom, it splits it in 2. You cannot do that. You have to lightly pull up until you pull up the taskbar, and then you can drag another item into either side. What happens if that item is not in the taskbar, which you have to be very finicky. I mean, you'll get used to it if you practice with it all the time, but this just has the whole taskbar right there laid out for you because this screen is so tall. And you might be wondering, well, what happens if I turn this phone sideways? Will I get the taskbar there? No, you won't. I'm at the multitasking window, swipe up slowly. Maybe it's not over here, but at least I can open the app drawer and drag another app in here, maybe like Chrome or something, and I can drag it on any side. Same thing here. I have the taskbar. I can drag another app if I want. and drag it on any side. But guess what? You can also release it to make it a floating window and have it floating around, which is an option you do not get here on the Pixel. I can drag it from here now, and I can do a 3-window split where I can have it here, drag it down, press the 3 dots in the middle here, swap the sides on the 2, pull this up, tap the 3 buttons up here, push this app up, bring these 2 down. There is a lot of ways to play around with this and still have my 3rd window here and just pull it down. So this, I think, when it comes to multitasking, OnePlus just, they went all in. Let's not forget features like wireless charging and heavy waterproofing. These are big features that people need, and it's probably the reason why Google could not make this phone as sleek and as sophisticated as the OnePlus Open, which just doesn't have wireless charging or heavy waterproof rating. But the OnePlus Open does have warp charging, which is really good. But if you don't have an ecosystem for warp charging and you have an ecosystem for wireless charging, that's going to be a bummer, OnePlus. But somehow OnePlus seems to find a way to fight back with its features. For example, the only options you really have is adaptive and neutral. Now, if you like a warmer looking screen, more yellowy versus blue, then that's fine. You got what you got. But if you don't, then that sucks. When you look at the OnePlus Open, a neutral color, but you can also go Pro, you can also go Vivid, and you also have a slider that you can use to make your screen warmer or cooler. And that is cool. Get it? Cool, cooler. Google, however, still has a few tricks up its sleeve, like its live wallpapers. These wallpapers are so cool, and I just can't find them on the OnePlus device. Don't get me wrong, OnePlus does have live wallpapers, but it's 2 selections, and where's my earth? I need some earth movement in my life. However, the OnePlus Open still fights back because it has completely customizable icons. Not only that, you can scroll through where the widget section is and even alter your transitions so that when you swipe from side to side, it can have all these cool different animations as you swipe through. Whereas the Pixel, don't expect to see any fancy transitions or anything happening here. Everything is basically stock. One big feature that I do enjoy with the Pixel phone is that you can split screen the camera. Whereas OnePlus, you get a message saying that it's not allowed. And then OnePlus says you can take 3 fingers, swipe down from the top, and guess what? You just took a screenshot. Try that with your Google phone and all you will get is your notifications. However, if you tap the back of your phone, there you go. Google's got their own tricks up their sleeve. Now it is time to discuss these cameras. So the main rear cameras on both phones shoot 48 megapixels, which is great. They both shoot 4K 60, which is awesome. The Pixel has an 82-degree field of view and the OnePlus has an 85-degree field of view. But here is where things really get separated. The sensor on the OnePlus Open is a staggering 1/1.43 stacked sensor. You heard me. Not only is it a bigger sensor compared to the half-inch sensor on the Pixel Fold, but it is stacked. And in case you don't know, a stacked sensor allows you to get much more light going into the camera, as you see in the samples here. And although you may not be able to tell much difference in the daytime, you can certainly tell the difference at night. So if you intend to do a lot of low light shooting, then yes, you might want to look at the 48 megapixel stack sensor that's found in the OnePlus Open. But here's where things get tricky. When it comes to photography, even though the Pixel Fold has a smaller sensor, Google is known for their computational photography, and that means that they can take that small sensor and put their coding into it to make it read the pixels, read the image, fill in the gaps, You can call it computational photography. And Google is probably the best at it in 2024. And as a result, when it comes to photos, their sensor, as small as it is, can yield, in some cases, day and night better imagery than the OnePlus Open. And now when it comes to the ultra wide lens, the Pixel is using a 10.8 megapixel while the OnePlus Open is using a 48 megapixel ultra wide lens. It's also using a half-inch sensor, which, believe it or not, a half-inch sensor on the OnePlus Open is bigger than the 1/3 sensor that's found on the Pixel Fold. They both have similar fields of views. The Pixel is actually wider at 121 degrees field of view, while the 48 megapixel ultra wide on the OnePlus Open is only 114 degrees field of view. Just do not pinch and crop in on that photo or video, because 48 megapixels will give you a lot more detailed compared to 10.8 megapixels, especially 10.8 megapixels on a smaller sensor. Still, both day and night, I prefer the ultra wide on the OnePlus Open. Just a bigger sensor. Next comes the telephoto lens, and the Google Pixel Fold uses a 10.8 megapixel. Yes, 10.8 megapixels is what the Pixel Fold uses for its telephoto lens. The OnePlus Open, however, is using a whopping 64 megapixel camera. So yes, go right ahead and zoom into those telephoto shots, because it's a lot of megapixels in there. It's a 33.4 degrees field of view, so it is wider than the Pixel's 21.9 degrees field of view. The sensor as well on the OnePlus Open is a half-inch sensor. Yes, a half-inch sensor, which is the same size as Google's main sensor for their best camera on the Fold. So yeah, that's what the OnePlus Open is using for their telephoto lens. And that is a bigger sensor compared to the 1/3.1 which Google is using on their 10 megapixel 21 degree field of view telephoto lens. When it comes to these two little cameras found on the front, which is typically what you would use as a selfie in your regular candy bar slab phones, well, these are not good at all, neither of these two, so I wouldn't use them at all. But either which way, the specs on the front camera are 9.5 megapixel with a 84 field of view for the Pixel Fold. It doesn't actually say what sensor it uses, versus the 32 megapixel 88 degree field of view 1/3.14 size sensor found in the OnePlus Open. So this actually has a very good sensor, very high megapixel. I still won't use it because I have this, but yeah. You tell me what you think. When it comes to the cameras that are found inside here, the OnePlus Open has a 20 megapixel 91 degree field of view 1/4 inch sensor, which is very tiny, topping out at 4K 30. The Pixel Fold, on the other hand, has a 8 megapixel 84 degree field of view, topping out at 1080p 30, and they don't say what size sensor it is. So again, if you want to use these cameras, they're okay, but that's just it, just okay. If you are looking for a phone that you will primarily use closed, and then when you want to consume media, then you will open your phone, then I highly recommend the Google Pixel Fold. It's got all the features that you really need in a folding phone. If you are a spec junkie and you need something that is sleek, something that is a looker, that carries a bunch of horsepower, charges really fast, if you prefer to use your phone open more than you do closed, this could be the phone for you. So before I give you my daily driver, let me just say that this was one of the toughest decisions when I'm using the Pixel Fold open, like I prefer to use my phones, and I am multitasking, and I am working the heck out of this phone. The back area here, especially under the camera, gets really hot. I could feel my hands and my thumb burning out from just touching this side of the screen because the heat transferred from the back and started coming through the screen in front. And that is the reason why I won't be daily driving the Pixel Fold. If it wasn't for that reason, I honestly don't know which one of these two phones I would have chosen. But for now, the OnePlus Open will do. Everyone has different needs and everyone uses their phone differently. They're both great phones. Both of them I would recommend. So get whichever one is best for you. Do me a favor, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the bell to get notified when I release new reports. Make sure you give me a huge thumbs up because this took hours and hours and hours of data and trial and test to compile all this information to share with you guys. And lastly, I suggest before purchasing any one of these two phones that you continue to scour YouTube because there are tons and tons of people who make very good useful videos on both of these phones. And if you're looking for more videos on the OnePlus Open phone, I did a complete review, in-depth camera on this phone. Check this link right up here. And I will catch you guys, well, whenever I can.